Go.
Hi, I'm Mr. Valvo. I'm a junior participant at Buff State. I was in your child's class with Miss Hopkins. In this video today, I'll be reading a book and talking about it. The book I'll be reading is The Roof Gardener by Bronwyn Tanui. Now before we start reading, we need to look at the cover and make predictions. As we can see, there's a young girl with gardening clothes on and gardening tools in her hands, along with different types of plants surrounding her. In the background, we can see tall buildings, which makes us think that she lives in a city. Jessie lived with her grandpa, Pop. They lived in an apartment. There was no yard, so Pop grew plants in pots on the roof. He liked to grow fruit and vegetables. He took care of his plants and watered them every day. Why do you think Pop likes to garden? One day, Pop fell and broke his hip. Then he had surgery to have his hip replaced. Pop was still getting better, so he couldn't walk very well. "You will have to look after our plants, otherwise they won't grow properly," he said to Jessie. At first, Jessie didn't answer. She wasn't sure she could look after the plants. However, she liked spending time on the roof. "Okay, Pop," she said, "no problem." Here you can see Jess telling her grandpa, "no problem." On Monday, Pop said, "The weather's been just right for tomatoes, so ours should be right. Would you pick some for dinner, Jess?" Jessie picked some small green tomatoes from the pots by the shady wall. They did not look like last year's fat red tomatoes. Here you can see Jess picking the green tomatoes off of the plants. You can see that they're in the shade. Jessie gave Pop the tomatoes. "Oh dear," said Pop, "these tomatoes are still tiny and green. That means they haven't been getting enough sunlight. Didn't I put them in the sun?" "Sorry, Pop," said Jessie, "because I needed more room to bounce my basketball. I moved some of the plants against the shady wall." "Why do plants need the sun?" Jessie asked. "The leaves of a plant take in energy from the sun. The energy helps the plant make sugar. As a result, the plant can grow. We eat the plant, so it gives us energy too," answered Pop. Here we have a diagram of the sun giving energy to the plant, and then it says the energy from the sun helps plants make sugar. And then you see the energy going from the plant to the kid, and it says people get energy from eating the plant or its fruit. On Tuesday, Pop said, "We've had a lot of sun, so the strawberries should be ripe. Could you please pick some to have for dessert, Jess?" Jessie picked strawberries off the strawberry plants that sat in a long box against the wall. Last year's strawberries had been fat and juicy. These ones were full of holes because Jess hadn't noticed the birds sneakily eating them. And here you can see Jess picking out the strawberries, but you can see the birds over here and around eating the strawberries. "Oh no," said Pop when he saw the strawberries. "I think you forgot to put the net over them. That's why they're bird-pecked." Why do you think Jess had such a hard time gardening? On Wednesday, Pop said, "Our beans should be ready. Pick me some beans, please, Jess." The bean plants were wilted. Jessie thought they must be dying. She pulled off some bean pods. They were very dry. Jessie had almost killed Pop's bean plants because she'd left them in the sun and only watered them once during the week. Here you can see the plants didn't look very good. Jessie gave the bean pods to Pop. "Didn't you water these, Jess?" asked Pop. "Sorry, Pop, I didn't know they needed water every day," said Jessie. "How do plants drink the water anyway?" "The roots take in nutrients and water from the soil. Then the nutrients and water travel up the plant's stems to the leaves so the plants can make fruit," answered Pop. Here we have another diagram that shows the water, the roots, and the soil with nutrients in it. Then it shows the water and the nutrients going through the roots up to the stem, into the leaf, and into the fruit. How do you make your fruit and vegetables grow so well? Asked Jessie. As well as the sun and water, having good rich soil is important, Pop replied. Really? Asked Jessie. Yes, answered Pop. There are living things in soil, too. Some are big, such as worms, some are tiny, and we can't see them. They feed on the remains of dead insects and rotting plants in the soil. This breaks down the material and makes the soil rich. Here you can see Pop talking to Jess about worms in the soil. Pop continued, plants that grow in pots need more care because they haven't got much soil to get nutrients and water from. I'm sorry I let you down, Pop, said Jessie. You know what, I answered Pop. I should have been a lot more helpful. I just thought you'd know what to do like me. I only know what to do because I've been gardening for years. That's okay, Pop, said Jessie, smiling. I have a great idea for your garden. Worms. Let's build a worm farm. Then the worms will help make the soil rich. We can work on it together. Here you can see Jessie thinking about the worm farm that she's going to make with her Pop. Pop grinned. I always knew you were a gardener at heart, Jess. Alright, so in the book, there were a lot of things that happened. They happened for a reason. This is cause and effect. Cause and effect is when one event causes another to happen. For example, it started to rain, so we got wet. So I got wet. What happened was I got wet. That is the effect. It started to rain is why it happened. That's the cause. Let's use an example from the book. One I can think of is when Jess was picking the small green tomatoes, but they were small because they were in the shade. The effect was that the tomatoes didn't grow. So in the box right here we write, the tomatoes didn't grow. And then the cause what caused the tomatoes not to grow was Jessie not putting the plants in the sun. So what Jessie did, so when Jessie put the plants in the shade, that's why the tomatoes didn't grow. So when we write in the cause box is Jessie put the plants in the shade. Alright, so the cause is Jessie put the plants in the shade, so this affects it, so the effect would be, so what happened is the tomatoes didn't grow. So Jess put the plants in the shade, so the tomatoes didn't grow. Now I want you to find two more examples of cause and effect in the story. You can use the sheet. You can print out the sheet that I have that you can get online, or if you can't print it out, then you can take a piece of paper and draw like I did here. And parents, if there's a reason your child cannot write what they've come up with for cause and effect, then instead of writing it, then they can draw instead. So thank you. I've enjoyed sharing this book with you. I hope that you have fun finding different causes and effects. Stay well.